And as the New York Post put it, Biden's new Title IX revisions are a repulsive attempt to completely erase biological truth. Joining us now to weigh in on this is Don Brown. He is an author, constitutional attorney, and former U.S. Navy JAG officer. Don, I just can't wrap my brain around this. I mean, America didn't vote on this. Congress didn't vote on this. And the left keeps accusing Trump of being a dictator. This is the most dictating thing I've seen him do, other than like the border. I mean, let's just change it up. How did he get away with this? And why isn't there more, uproar over what he just did?
Well, they're creating so much chaos out there that a lot of the chaos sort of hides under the other chaos. I have thumbed through some of the regulations here. This is an unconstitutional boondoggle from the beginning. My apologies, ladies. This is an absolute unconstitutional boondoggle from the beginning because it's attacking the First Amendment rights to freedom of religion and the freedom of speech, and also to freedom of association. What we're looking at here is 1,577 pages of regulations that Biden is thrusting in through the Department of Education, which tries to create this new protected class of gender identity discrimination. So, for example, if you and I are a professor at a public university, and if we're believers, we're Christians, and some young man says that he's a girl, or some girl says she's a guy or a toad frog or whatever, and we don't identify with that, we could be sued or fired.
Right.
But you see what it's doing is attacking our freedom of beliefs, our freedom of religion. It is also attacking freedom of association. It is unconstitutional. It is going to be a plethora of lawsuits waiting to happen. And it's just a matter before it explodes. We're going to see a ton of litigation on this as well. We should.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening, too. Even at the military, Don, they are saying that you could be court-martialed if you don't use pronouns. It's like if we don't identify, or the schools, or how about our kids in the schools that don't call the children by their she, he, are they going to get in trouble? Like, are they going to have, isn't that against our First Amendment right, period?
It is absolutely unconstitutional on multiple grounds. Again, for those of us who are believers, we don't want to be forced into calling a man a woman and a woman a man. Genesis said God created them male and female. In the New Testament, the husband the man leaves his family and cleaves to his wife. So we don't be forced into that. When as you pointed out a moment ago, Miranda, when Title VII was passed in 1972 as part of the Education Act, it was to protect women and girls so that they have primarily to engage in sports. That's freedom of association. It's okay to associate with other women. This thing turns that on its head. We're going to see a plethora of lawsuits. This is the left and the Biden administration waging war on women, basically with a nuclear weapon here. I mean, people complain about, the Dobbs case. This is absolute warfare on women at the highest degree, okay?
Yeah.
And it's also an attack on our constitutional rights. So we have to hit it both in the courts, and we have to hit it politically as well. But they are waging war not only against the United States Constitution, but against the natural law under which our founding documents were built. We heard Jefferson talk about the nature's law and the law and the law of God's nature, nature's God, which we saw in the Declaration of Independence. Natural law separates men and women. So it isn't just a strike against the Constitution, but against natural law. It is the left strike against Judeo-Christian principles, and it's got to be resisted at all costs.
Just science even, right, Carolyn? I mean, come on, common sense.
I want to try to get to the heart of it a little bit more, just on a very basic level. So what we're saying here, he essentially, Title IX says you can't discriminate on the basis of sex. Really, and so what he's saying by reversing this, or how he's twisted it, is saying you can't discriminate on the basis of gender identity, sort of replacing gender identity for sex. So essentially, when we get down to it, how does this play out for your average, let's say, 10, 12, 14-year-old who's in school and in high school sports? So this is saying, hey, boys can be in girls' locker rooms if they identify as a female. Boys can be on your basketball team if he identifies as a female. That's the basic what we're talking about here, right?
That is exactly right. These are public universities. Any university or institution of higher education, with some exceptions, are subject to federal bullying and to litigation against a teacher or a coach or anyone who tries to have a traditional split between boys and girls basketball, for example. And, Dawn Staley, the University of South Carolina women's coach, is in favor of this. But when she gets, some guy on another team, the University of Tennessee comes in and beats her, she'll probably change her tune.
She'll change her tune real quick.
Absolutely. But
Right.
it's what we've seen in Riley Gaines, who has spoken like a true champion in the case when this guy comes in from the University of Pennsylvania and swims against them and beats them. This is absolute warfare on women and on women's sports.
This is
and
a
on the
war.
right.
This
and
is
the,
a
and the
war
legal-
on women, Don. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to monitor it. I know there are a bunch of lawsuits happening, and rightfully so, to stop this from happening. Because scholarships, guys, that's another thing. These women are going to lose scholarships. Don Brown, thank you as always. Good to see you.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great day.